people in the Fever were like,
That's not my point. There's a lot of other going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some
So
new shit
it's
going
a
on
lot.
around there.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't.
Clip 1. Sure, here's a rewritten version of your transcript. Yeah, over there, it's clear, the Indiana Fever has some key players who are really committed to the team. They're saying, this is where I want to be. Remember when Sheryl Swoopes grabbed the mic and claimed that no free agents wanted to sign with the Fever, saying they'd stay away because of locker room problems and a so-called toxic culture? Well, that opinion has definitely aged badly and is now one of the most out-of-touch takes in WNBA history. Let me know if you'd like any further adjustments.
I'm talking about more social media.
Okay. It's a turn.
Right?
It's a turn, right? It's really a turn of the tides.
Well, Gil, here's my point. The beginning of the year, right?
Here's the revised version. Now, Indiana has completely turned things around, winning free agency, and the person calling out that outdated view isn't just some random Twitter user, it's Sue Bird. But before we dive into Sue's thoughts on basketball, let's revisit Sheryl Swoopes' original take and give it the attention it deserves. This wasn't just a casual comment, this was a Hall of Famer, someone with a huge legacy, using her platform to basically tell the basketball world that Indiana was a career killer. She claimed the locker room was a mess, that real talent would never join the Fever, and that the franchise wasn't equipped to support a generational star. Let me know if you need any further tweaks.
Has gone from, a team that made the playoffs last year, lost in the first round, they were building all these young pieces, of course, Caitlin Clark, to now an immediate contender.
Here's a clearer, more engaging version of that part. What's actually happening now is that, as free agency played out, players are eager to join the Caitlin Clark show. And that's exactly what Sue Bird, the basketball expert, sees. When Sue speaks, people pay attention. Let me know if you'd like to refine it further.
I loved playing with Tosh.
But you cannot say enough.
I cannot say enough about Tosh. I really enjoyed playing with her. I think she really is she's just this glue player that doesn't get enough shine for what she does, because a lot of what she does doesn't show up in the box score, but she just is like always in the right place at the right time. And a player like that, I think compliments.
Here's a more engaging version of that. Sue Bird doesn't toss around compliments just to get attention. She's not about the hype. She's a 4-time WNBA champion, a 5-time Olympic gold medalist, and the point guard behind one of the most successful teams in WNBA history, the Seattle Storm. Let me know if you need more adjustments.
Greatest point guards of all time in the WNBA. And she's someone who obviously is a part owner in the Seattle Storm. So hyping up another team is a bit of a conflict.
What did Sue have to say? First, she shared her classic veteran wisdom, telling everyone to slow down on the Indiana Fever's instant title talk. That's just Sue, calm and calculated. She reminded people that championships aren't won on Twitter or by hyping up Caitlin Clark's deep three-pointers in group chats.
That, I would say a 3-and-D type player who has, been to the finals, so has that playoff experience. She's also just tough. She's mentally tough. She's physically tough. She brings an edge to them. And then last but not least, they added Dewana Bonner, which really I think is the one that for most people took it to another level. So now you're like, oh.
Here's what some people missed. Sue wasn't downplaying the Fever. She was actually putting the whole league on notice. If you really listen to her words, the message is clear. Indiana is building something special, and it's coming together fast. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark, even though she's the headline maker, hitting logo three-pointers and making defenders look like traffic cones. Sue sees the bigger picture. The foundation is being laid for something big. Aaliyah Boston, the powerhouse center ready to control the paint for the next decade. Kelsey Mitchell, an elite scorer who's battled through tough times and is now thriving. Lexi Hull, the glue player every great team needs. And now, free agents are eager to join in. That's the part Sheryl Swoopes never saw coming. Caitlin Clark has changed
is that she's already played for Steph. So I think that's going to help bridge the gap, because as we go along, we're going to talk about Vegas and Seattle, Atlanta. It's really going to be which
Stephanie
team.
White being the head coach of,
Thank you.
Was the head coach of Connecticut, now the head coach of Indiana.
Yeah. So it's really going to be the team that finds their chemistry. This season is short. I mean, they're adding games, but it's still pretty short season.
Still short.
And it's going to be the team that finds chemistry. So having
the same Indiana Fever that spent years as an afterthought in the league. Now, they're the hottest ticket in town. Ticket sales are breaking records, jerseys are flying off the shelves, and networks are fighting for fever games like it's the NBA Finals. Free agents are taking notice, and veterans who want rings are suddenly interested in Indiana. Playing alongside Caitlin Clark means primetime TV, deep playoff runs, and the chance to build a legacy. Sue Bird knows that. She's been the player who draws talent before, bringing stars to Seattle during her prime. She sees the Fever starting to build that same kind of pull. This is how dynasties are born: a superstar, a young core, and veterans who buy into the vision. While Sue Bird is out here analyzing Indiana's rise, Sheryl Swoopes is watching her credibility fade away. This is no longer the Indiana Fever of the past. This is the team of the future, and the rest of the league better take notice.
Out the way she plays the game, her passing, her shooting, that people really identify with. I really feel like we're poised and we're set up for a great, successful next era of Fever basketball.
Do you consider each of those 3 seasons as dominant seasons for yourself?
No.
I can't. Bro, Sheryl Swoopes is willing to lie about her own career before she even admits that Caitlin is done.
When Sue Bird tells you a team is about to make waves, you listen. Sue isn't a retired legend just throwing out hot takes to stay in the spotlight. When she speaks, it's a warning. And her message about the Indiana Fever is crystal clear. This team isn't on the way.
I think that's kind of what everybody talked about when we were in the playoffs last year of, we really didn't have much experience at all playing in playoff games. I don't know what the exact number was, but we really lacked in that area. So just adding pieces of, players that have been in this league, they know what it takes to win. They know what it takes to get to the finals. They know what it takes to win championships. I think is exactly what we needed in our locker room. So it's just exciting, but also they're not only really good basketball players, they're really great leaders and really great people. And I know the front office obviously really prioritized that and looking for the pieces that we wanted to add.
Here's the part that Sheryl Swoopes and her outdated locker room narrative completely missed. The Fever didn't just luck into this success because Caitlin Clark showed up. While Clark was the spark that lit the fire, the team has been building this for years, step by step. They've endured empty arenas and long losing streaks, while Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and the rest of the core kept pushing. Clark wasn't the original plan. She became the crucial piece that made it all come together, and that's what Sue Bird sees. The Fever didn't just sign players for the headlines, they've built a team with purpose. They created a system where Clark can shine without having to drop 30 points every game just to keep the team competitive. This isn't a desperate squad hoping one player can save them. This is a well-built machine, centered around a generational talent, ready to win. Here's the revised version. Take a look at the free agency moves. That's where the truth really hits. Indiana is no longer a stop for forgotten veterans or players looking to pad their stats. Suddenly, the Fever are a destination. Players aren't steering clear of Indiana, they're marking it on their calendars like it's the NBA All-Star Weekend. Why are there national TV games and packed arenas? It's Caitlin Clark's gravity, and, most importantly, a young core built to win. Players know that teaming up with Clark means exposure. Her presence makes every Fever game must-watch TV, and everyone around her benefits from that spotlight. Sponsorships, bigger brand deals, endless opportunities, that's something Angel Reese and Sheryl Swoopes fail to understand. Clark doesn't just elevate her own game, she lifts everyone around her. Sue Bird knows this better than anyone. She's seen this blueprint work before. She built it herself in Seattle, first with Lauren Jackson, then with Breanna Stewart and Jewel Lloyd. Now, she's watching the
is joining the Indiana Fever. What does that mean? Indiana is just being so greedy right now. They took DB, they took Natasha, now they got Sydney.
Here's the revised version. Take a look at the free agency moves. That's where the truth really hits. Indiana is no longer a stop for forgotten veterans or players looking to pad their stats. Suddenly, the Fever are a destination. Players aren't steering clear of Indiana, they're marking it on their calendars like it's the NBA All-Star Weekend. Why are there national TV games and packed arenas? It's Caitlin Clark's gravity, and, most importantly, a young core built to win. Players know that teaming up with Clark means exposure. Her presence makes every Fever game must-watch TV, and everyone around her benefits from that spotlight. Sponsorships, bigger brand deals, endless opportunities, that's something Angel Reese and Sheryl Swoopes fail to understand. Clark doesn't just elevate her own game, she lifts everyone around her. Sue Bird knows this better than anyone. She's seen this blueprint work before. She built it herself in Seattle, first with Lauren Jackson, then with Breanna Stewart and Jewel Lloyd. Now, she's watching the same formula unfold in Indiana, but at an even faster pace.
be top of the MVP race. We're going to talk about her in terms of stat leaders later, but the way that the Indiana Fever just made a statement around Caitlin Clark and said, like, hey, we're pushing in the chips. We're ready to win now. And Duana Bonner's obviously, the face of the new pieces that have come in. So obviously that's going to be the biggest needle mover in what Drew said.